All right, so we're gonna review everything that we talked about the last 4 or 5 weeks. Everything we discussed. We started off with what do you know about the kitchen? We took a dictation where we talk about everything that we have from the refrigerator, the microwave, um, the dishwasher, the oven, and every other tools that we use in the kitchen. We talked about that. And the second week, we talked about safety and things that children are allowed to touch and things that they're not allowed to touch. So, for example, we talked about the blender. The children are supposed to touch that because it's not safe. You cannot touch the blender without parental supervision. Things that they're allowed to touch would be like the oven glove, they could touch that. The cups, the apron, they can touch without supervision. The napkin, the tray, the timer, and getting a spoon, a fork, a knife, and then cutting board, yes, but without the knives. And then the knife you're not allowed to touch. So again, every time you go in the kitchen, you want to make sure that you are safe. Everything is safe for the children to touch. So anything that they're not allowed to touch as you in the kitchen, you want to make sure that you put up high. That way they don't touch it. I know in the classroom we don't have all of these things, but you can teach them based on what you have in your housekeeping because things that you have in the housekeeping they cannot cut like the item that they have or the tools that they have at home that can actually cut things. And then we move on to what can we make with these ingredients. Again, we have our ingredients over here where you give that to the children. That could be an activity that you do with them, and then you ask them what can they make with that. You can write your wording on the side. You have the pictures there, and then you describe what they're going to be making. And at the end, we'll come with the conclusion that with based on all these ingredients over here, you can make a fruit salad. So this